I also think that one thing I really don't like is when I'm having conversations with like older people, and I'm stating what I believe and my opinion, and then they're like, "Oh, you'll understand when you get to my age," or your opinion will change when you get to my age," as if because of the age I am in now, I'm incapable of knowing anything.
I'm completely honest with my family. They know everything I do. Yeah, so I don't think.
Sure.
You're sure? Just think.
Yeah,
Think
they
through.
know everything. I tell them
Thin line.
Everything.
Thin line.
everything.
Thin line.
Everything.
Thin
No,
There's
line.
a
it's not
thin
a
line.
thin line.
You
If
could
they
always
ask,
jump
they
You
get
over.
can
the
always jump.
You can always jump.
if they
Cause
ask the right question, they always
Exactly.
get the right answer.
The older I get, the more I know.
okay, I seem to disagree with this saying that ati, the older you go, the older you get is the more you know. Because what I know is, as generation changes, things change. Like you can tell me, like let's say, let me give an example. Let's say somebody who was alive in something like 1975. Back then, comps were like calculators. That was a computer at that time. Like, okay, it still is, but you see, compared to now, things are different. You see, as you go changing, things change. And some people tend to tell you that just to undermine what you're saying. But we all know some things I know, and there's someone old. Somebody's probably 85 years old or 100 and doesn't know what I know. So I don't think the older you get, the more you know. It just doesn't make sense.
I also think that one thing I really don't like is when I'm having conversations with like older people, and I'm stating what I believe and my opinion, and then they're like, "Oh, you'll understand when you get to my age," or your opinion will change when you get to my age," as if because of the age I am in now, I'm incapable of knowing anything or having any kind of accuracy about what I believe in. So don't believe the older you know, the more you know.
Yeah, me too, because it makes me think of what then makes someone wise. If it was age, then all old people would be wise and all maybe young people would be stupid. But it's never like that in this world. They are just wise people, whether it's young, it doesn't know age. That's the truth if you really look at what makes someone wise. And also, I think the problem with that also, it takes the credit of Christ. Christ and your relationship with Christ is what makes someone wise, not your age. Because you can tell that to someone and they think, maybe because I'm young, I can't get the things of Christ, you know, I can't
Yeah,
I
for
can't
sure.
vibe with Christ, I can't vibe with the Bible, you know, the Bible is for old people. There's nothing like that. Christ sees us all as equal and capable of achieving wisdom no matter what age you are, and that's what I love about God. And that's why we need to put the lens on God, because when you see it through God's perspective, you would never say something like that.
For sure. Okay.
I wish I had more control over the direction of my life.
I'm 50,
Ronnie, you're
50.
confused.
I'm honestly 50-50. I don't know why you guys are there, to be honest, because you see, there are things that you regret doing once you've done them. Yeah, you'd wish that I had first prayed to God, I had first inquired, gotten more information about a certain thing before I just jumped right into doing that. And that's why I'm like, somewhat agree, because if I would have done, I know we can't be perfect with everything that we do, but we can try and get the correct facts and information before we do something. So if I was in control, and control always is like when you're getting like uko hapo, like the facts, everything, you're backed up with the word, the everything. So if you're in sync with everything that you know, and you're like, I'm doing this because according to this, you can't be philosophical, because I know sikila mtu wa philosophy. But if you're like, this and this, according to this research in Doiko, and according to the Bible, this is what it is, and according to this is what it is, and then I can be able to make a sane decision and be like, so this is my conclusion, this is what I'm bringing to the table, and that's how I control myself. Yeah.
Okay, according to me, the reason why I'm at somewhat agree is because, okay, most of the decision that my mom or my parents have helped me to make, some of them may actually made me take a better step than other as compared to what I would have done. But you see, the reason why I'm at somewhat agree that I should have a little bit more control over my life is because, you see, you remember this time when people are like, I think that thing still exists, where you're going to college or university and your parent is like, go do law, like what they want, whatever they are thinking is what they want you to do. But what I've seen it doing to young people is, you find somebody at their workplace, somebody has already done the law, he has completed he or she has done everything that is required. But you find this person at the workplace and he's bored, doesn't have the interest of whatever he's doing. Maybe he wanted to become something like, let's say, a pilot. That was his or her passion. But because of being over controlled, and having less control over your life, you didn't have that much say over what you're about to do. You see, so that's why you find most of the people at places that they don't like working at. This is where you find people with depression, people having issues at workplaces, because you didn't have that control. So me, I prefer having a little bit more control over my life, because I'm the one who understands how I would prefer things.
Okay.
But then I'm switching sides. Sorry.
For me, I think I have enough control of my life or the direction of my life. I've always had a voice in the direction of my life or in certain decisions in a way, as much as of course my parents make very big decisions in regards to whatever, but I've always had some sort of direction. Like when I wanted to switch from going to school to homeschool, I did that. They were able to evaluate that and weigh in on what I actually wanted. And from me wanting to take a gap year and not going straight to university, they were able to weigh in that, and I've never necessarily felt pressured or like I can't do what I want to do in that sense. That's why for me I disagreed. Yeah.
I'm also I've switched to the green side because control is such a tricky topic to talk about, because there is that you're trying to control everything, and there's that thing of just being a good steward of what you have, whether it's your life, your decisions, all that. So I would say I would want to practice my self-control more, because obviously I am very wild, very crazy, and jumping head first, and it's not always good to do so it's very important to like step back and really think about what you're doing, think about what you're saying, and it doesn't come naturally to all of us, but I am doing better at it. So I would want to work more and more on all of those things. And so yeah.
I wish my relationship with my parents was better.
Well, since I'm the only one this side, let me just speak for all these people that are out here. To be honest, strongly disagree. That is a personal choice, not for everyone, yeah? Because I feel like my parents specifically, are doing the best they can. We are in the young stage, and we're all like, Mom, I want to do this, Mom, I want to do this. And I always feel like, even in the time that I'm pressuring them and I'm like, acting so immature, because we all have our immature moments, we all have our pettiness, we all have those moments that the like downfall of us being selfless humans, because we forget that even parents have feelings. And I'm not saying it, we all come from different places, but I always feel like for my own personal journey, my relationship with my parents is it's not perfect, but I don't think I can change anything, because I do appreciate the relationship I have with my parents. They're open, they always allow my thoughts, my views on things, and that's why I'm strongly disagreeing.
But there's this thing of the parent can never be wrong. I don't know where it came from, but sometimes you're very sure of what you're saying. It is something you can even prove. You've actually proved it, but still, it's like, the issue of the older you are or something like that. I don't even understand, but I don't understand where that comes from. That should not be there, because sometimes we can also be right. There's things I know that she doesn't know or he doesn't know. As a parent, as a son, there's something I know and my mom doesn't know. You see, so there's in a way I can help her. So if she could listen instead of, listen to understand instead of listen to reciprocate the argument,
Hey,
then
yes, sir.
it could bring the whole thing down very easily.
Yeah, we got a lot
Preach
of
it, brother,
people
preach
agreeing
it.
with this, which is true. And the ironic thing is that we're talking about control. And I feel like that obsession with control when it comes to parents can damage the relationship. That's why it's just good to be vulnerable. It's good to, but yeah.
But you see, let me just say something. Even if we're this way and this, this is like a thin line.
Yeah.
I can just jump there, but I'm not going to jump. Let me stand my ground. Yeah, as much as yes, there's need to improve in every relationship. Jakata, that's just my own personal experience and my own personal perspective. But we need to also acknowledge what they're doing. You see, we also forget, even in our tantrums and wanting to control our lives, and in wanting, just like we said, like the parents should not control for us. Like there was something that was said, the parents, yes, they should be able to guide us and do all that, but you should also at least have a say. But you should also appreciate what they're doing. We should just not complain and be like, you could always do better. They also have, to be honest, they also have feelings. And I know it sounds so wrong saying this. It sounds so wrong saying this, but we'll all grow up and we'll want our children for the better for our children. Would we want to look back with how we used to act to our parents and be like, this is exactly how I'm acting to my kid?
Yeah.
Is this what I want to? Is this how I want to raise my kid?
I think also in the element of like complaining and all, some things can be taken as complaints, but they're really not, and you're really trying to air how
You feel,
you feel.
yeah.
And I think the main issue is that we've seen a huge disconnect between our generation and previous generations. You can't parent the same way.
Yeah.
For sure, because the struggles that even when we have social media, mental health issues are at a spike and all that, and there's like a disconnect and all in certain issues, especially addressing issues for mental health, and then also being sensitive to other people's mental health and care and all that. So there's a huge disconnect between me whining and complaining, because for sure I can whine and complain, and also feeling like I can address certain issues.
Yeah, that's why, as I said even before, we said it could get better. We didn't say we have a bad relationship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It just, yeah.
I have struggled to be honest with my family.
So I don't think that's a factor to me, because I'm completely honest with my family. They know everything I do. Yeah, So I don't think.
Sure.
You're sure? Just think.
Yeah,
Think
they
through.
know everything. I tell them
Thin line.
Everything.
Thin line.
everything-
Thin line.
everything
Thin line.
It's a
is not
thin
a
line.
thin line.
You
If
could
they
always
ask,
jump
they get
over.
You can
the-
always
the-
jump.
You can always jump.
If they
smart.
ask the right questions, they
Exactly.
always get the right answers.
Exactly.
But what about the
If
wrong
they ask the wrong
questions, though?
questions,
You
No,
said
if they ask the
honesty.
wrong, no, I'm
Uh-huh.
always honest
Yes.
with them, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, let's say like my mom asked me a time back, my son, do you go out clubbing? I'm like, yeah.
You are honest.
So, okay, I used to.
so she created a safe space for
Yeah.
you.
I believe my mom and I have a crazy relationship. Yeah, it's like she's my number one fan and she's my day one. So I don't have any reason
Hey, all right. Day
to lie
one.
to her. So yeah.
Well, good for you, man.
For sure.
Wow.
I think for me there's honesty. Like how I picture this answering this question in my head is just being able to tell them anything and everything and whatever,
Yeah.
and nothing in your relationship would change, I guess. And I don't think that's possible because
Hey. I mean, to be honest,
Tricky.
as much as there's an element of friendship in my relationship with both of my parents, there's also a lot I feel like I'm not yet ready to be able to talk about because of how
they view it.
they view it and also the mentality also, because I keep I have this perception of my parents right now are in the process of learning and unlearning different things.
Yeah.
Learning how to parent, how to be more understanding, how to be more sensitive to the issues of my generation and how I'm growing up, and unlearning how they were parented.
Yeah.
And shedding of different things.
It's true.
So so it's more like, would I be able eventually to tell them everything for sure? But right now,
It's just not the right time.
Yeah.
To be honest, I also strongly feel the same way. Because yes, I have a good. I disagreed strongly. I have a good relationship, but sometimes I'm always like, what you don't know doesn't hurt. I mean, because unawaambia vitu zingine and they're like mudeu, and then you're just imagining yourself in this scenario where she's like, by the I'm not doing this because you told me this and this,
They
and I'm
use it
just
against
like,
you.
well, kama singekuwa nimekwambia, you wouldn't have viewed me at that level. But the fact that I put it out there, I aired out my dirty laundry, and and I always feel like, to be honest, the way you said that they have to unlearn things and learn things. For my parents specifically, they went to the parents' ropes thing, and my mom actually mentioned, she was like, now I'm learning how to be able to not accept, but just being able to process everything that your sister is going through as a teenager. And I'm like, at my time, she wasn't able to process things. So for my sister, it's going to be easy for her. So I'm like, right now where she is, she's taking baby steps, man. She's taking baby steps. But we always like pray to be at that place where you're like, okay, anyway, my mental is just off the chain, but
and
like this.
And I think also for what you've said, me and you can relate in this way, because being like firstborn or something,
Yeah.
you get to see the change of how your parents
When
parented
You and how they parenting the other person.
So it's
You see, this whole argument, according to me, takes me back, because it all depends. You see, the way the whole of this actually depends on how you were raised when you were a kid, not right now. Because you see, for some of us, you see, like, bro here is very free with his mom. Like, can you
Day one
the day one,
Day
like,
one.
you can even tell your mom you're going for clubbing or something. You see, was true, bro. But you see, for some of us, like me, if I dare say something like that, bro, you see, already the picture that comes in is whatever used to happen back then when I just go out for a sliding in the mud. Now this is a whole new issue of let's say if it's the same issue of clubbing, it would have been a whole new issue, because that was playing with mud. This is something different. This is clubbing. So now, if I was actually going to clubs, I would be like, whoa, if mom used to spank me all that just because of going to play in the mud, now what if I tell her about this? You see? So just come back to the fact of what she said. What you don't know, man.
But doesn't it change like when you grow up, or it's still the same?
You see,
Old,
it's
same
still the
old,
same.
like-
You've never been told by your mom that even when you're 45, you're still my small son.
well, okay, yeah,
You
that's
see,
yeah,
now,
That's
that actually limits how I can familiarize with my mom, because there's things I won't tell her, obviously. You see, so some of us have actually been taken through some things that, doesn't give, okay, it's not that you don't want to do it, but now you're thinking about your mom who will be so stressed. So you'd rather deal with the issue on your own, deal with it on your own and finish it off, than telling her that then just 50 years later when you're having children, she'll be like, you remember that time? Or things like that, and then your kids are there listening. You see, now, I'd rather deal with it myself, because if it's something I can deal with, I'll deal with it myself.
That's true. Let's just agree this is like most people, like it's just not a normal thing yet. And I don't know if it's ever gonna be normal telling your parents everything and stuff like that. But the great thing I love about that, it doesn't mean you have a bad relationship, doesn't mean you're not secure in it, as Hope Exhibit A showed and stuff like that. So as you said,
I know what I want to do with my life.
Do I?
I think I want to do a lot of things. I want to do a lot of things, and I feel like there's this whole notion of like life choices. What are you going to do with your life at like a certain age? And you make this big decision of what you're like actually going to stick to. And I feel like for me, my approach has completely been totally different to this. I refuse to be tied down to one thing. I refuse to be tied down to one thing. If it's like making money, that's easy to do these days. You can make money with different things. If I decide I want to be get into ministry in terms of my purpose, I can do so many things in ministry. So I agree in terms of I know I can do different things, but I disagree to be tied onto one thing that I want to do with my life, if that makes sense.
I really not strongly, but I disagree. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And a lot of people are normally like, oh, Hope, you've not yet figured out what you want to do with your life. Oh, you're already doing a diploma, you're already doing a degree, you're already doing so this and this. And I'm always like, gosh, it doesn't mean I actually know. It's not like I have everything together. Yes, I might have my own 5-year plan, 10-year plan, but you never know. God can do just a 360, and you'll be like, okay, so right now we're just going to win souls and not just do insurance. Like me personally, I'm doing insurance, and I'm like, I still don't know if that is what I'm going to do in the long term. So I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like I'm always like, I can wake up in the morning and equate to zile that I'm not doing insurance, I'm just doing something else. So I just disagree.
Yeah, well, for me, yes, I know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I should spoil it. Let me just not spoil it yet. So, but I'm grateful for that, because to be honest, I'm not that guy who always has things figured out. I'm not like known for that. You're those people known like Hope, organized. You have your life together, your 5-year plan. You know what I'm saying? Your plans don't have to worry about your future or whatever, but I wouldn't say I'm like the exact same
model.
I can be very, just in the air. Actually, a lot of my life I've been that way, but I'm grateful that this thing that I know I'm supposed to do in my life, I know it. It's not something that I forced. It's not something that I was like, oh, I need to figure out something to do with my life or something like. It was like some crisis. It just happened, and I feel like sometimes life surprises you that way, and it's so beautiful. But I would like to say all that I know, all that I'm supposed to do in my life, that I don't. But as Hope had said, I also refuse to be tied down. Just cause I know that one thing that I'm passionate about doesn't mean that and I'm meant to do, doesn't mean that's all. I'm open to everything else that may come, because as also Hope said, God could add stuff to the list or all that. It happens. So I feel like it's good as well, even though we may know what we're supposed to do, to be open to many other things, because God stretches us wide, just yeah.
I also think there's from what he said, I feel like also people can think I just decide today I'm going to do this and tomorrow I'll do because I said I refuse to be tied down to one thing. The main thing for me is that I know everyone is called to ministry to some degree. We are all called to share the gospel
Yeah.
and to talk about Jesus and all. That can be through media, that can be through your job, that can be through. So I want to be creative in terms of how I want to live my life. Not necessarily be irresponsible, but also I don't necessarily want to know my life for the next 10 years, because I feel like if God would tell us what how our life is going to look like,
10 years,
we wouldn't
yeah.
need to believe in him, we wouldn't need to walk in faith.
That's true.
So for me, it's one of these things. God says move here, I move there. I am ready to move as God leads me, and that's why I say I refuse to be tied down to one thing.
Yeah, that.
Well,
Sorry.
Well, for me, okay, I agree to the fact that things might happen. Maybe God has the plan. Okay, not maybe, he has the plan.
Yeah, he does.
It doesn't matter what I think. I know what God sees best is what will happen.
Yeah.
But in my brain, I already have passions. I already have my plans that I've had ever since I had my small beginnings when my mind started functioning.
Yeah.
I've always had a very big passion with engines. Okay, cars, automotive issues. So by now, I'm actually pursuing automotive engineering as a passion. But I also know that in my head, I would really want, this is something that I would really want. I'd like to do aeronautical engineering too, and aviation. You see? So the thing is, apart from me knowing and acknowledging the fact that things may not go as I want to, I already know what I want in my life. Because I want this automotive thing is something that is a skill. It is basically something that's hands-on. This is something I can empower my kids with, because I can be like, yo, when they are kids and growing, maybe I have a garage and I can be opening engines with them. I can show them how to replace piston rings. I can show them how to show them how spark plugs are done, how they are tied, how they are repaired, how they are wiped, you know. So this kid, even in life, let's say things don't go as I planned or as he or she planned, by the time I will be rest assured, this is somebody I've already given a skill. He will, even if it comes to the lowest, he will have something to depend on, you see. So this is something that I already know I want.
But I also need us to understand, even as we are all in different places, like agree, disagree, all that. Sorry. I also need us to understand that we might say we want this for ourselves, this is what I'm passionate about, but we also need to get solutions. Is this what God wants us for us? For us, like, is this what he wants us to do? We might want to do aeronautical, what was yours? It was similar to his.
Yes.
And we might have figured it out in our heads and be like, this is what I want to do. But then this is a passion that I really want to do. And maybe you're already pulling some strings and doing this. But you know, God is always the final say, you know. So is this also aligning to what God wants for your will? Is it aligning to his will? Is it what he wants for you? So you also have to pray in the spirit to be aligned to whatever you want to be the same as what God wants for you.
True.
I
Yeah,
also
yeah.
think I'm kind of like an organizational freak, like OCD issues. So I like organizing everything into what I want to do, when I want to do it, and I feel like 2020 during the lockdown, when no one expected it to be as long as or whatever, or as serious as it was, that's when God was dealing with some of these issues of having to have certain things, because I was like, by this time I'm going to have done this. I need to stop going to school, to homeschool, so that I can have time to do 1, 2, and 3 things. But like, yeah, so there's the aspect of also trusting in God, but also me removing the aspect of me trying to figure everything out, allowed me to have peace in certain areas that God has me, instead of being discontent and trying to get to that higher calling or purpose or whatever. You'll get there when God wants you to get there, for sure.
True.
My parents will support whatever decision I make when it comes to career choices and what I want to do.
Will support.
Okay. For me, the dynamic in my household is like very balanced in a way. My dad is a huge academic. My mom is really not, but she's thriving. in her own way, because school was something that people wanted her to do, and she wanted to be a chef and all. So she worked in like private sectors and all, doing like businesses for a while before she actually stepped out and did what she wanted to do. So for the longest time, she spent time pleasing and getting the conventional job that people wanted for her. And when she stepped out of that place is when she was able to actually even make more money than she expected to make and do whatever she enjoys in that sense.
Yes, Lord.
And my dad is the guy studies still PhD, what and all that. So the balance for me is there in terms of different conversations that we're having. Do I want to stay in school? Do I not want to stay in school? Do I want to go into a degree that I have to do 4 years and all that? So there's like a lot of balanced conversations around that. Of course, if I say I don't want to go to school and I don't have a plan, they would not support me. It has to be strategic in what I want to do and what I want to pursue. It has to make sense in that way. Then, of course, they'd support whatever.
Yeah, for me, I know my mom. There's one thing I always remember. She told me when I was in class 7. She was like, Jesse, you're okay, you've grown, and now you're becoming somebody who has a mind. And so she said, don't agree to do something that your heart does not follow. She just came up to me and she was like, many people are making the decision according to their parents, because she told me to her she would have preferred if I went on and did the piloting, something big, you know. But she was like, as long as it is not something that you will be comfortable doing, it's not something that your heart is following, it is not something that you would enjoy doing, don't do it. She was like, go do what you know, because she knew ever since I was a kid, I used to go with my uncle, my friends. They used to have garages and such things. Or sometimes when I'm just walking, there's a place I used to go to, there was this Juakali garage. So I used to go there, learn things. I had this whole thing with engines and all. So my mom was like, you just study, first finish whatever you're doing at school, then we can decide what career you're going to follow at first when you're done. So she would support.
All right. So I mean, like, somewhat agree, because it was, will they support you in your career choices? Yeah, will they support you? I agree that they might. You know why I'm in somewhat is because, to be honest, I feel like parents don't know when they are being manipulative, because I'm not sorry to say that, like, it's out there, because they don't know if they're being manipulative. They'll be like, I'm not saying that my parents do that, but I'm saying they can be like, Hope, yeah, this is okay for you, you can just do engineering, but engineering is just not, it's not there yet.
Like low-key
like
discouraging
he's just
you.
low-key discouraging me. But then at that point, she's always like, okay, then if that is what you want, they normally feel
Guilt trip.
you. And they're like, if that is what you want, then sawa basi, we can't do anything. But now, in the same sense, they're always like, lakini ukangi ukijua, like, you get.
Yeah.
So you normally are there 50-50. You're like, okay, are you agreeing? Are you disagreeing? Ebu just tell me right now. Are we having a space between our relationship? Because it normally disconnects a bit the relationship with your parents, because they'll be like, some parents want to live their dreams inside their children's life, but because you have taken your own stand and you're like, Mom, I want to do maybe chef, I want to be a chef, I want to be an actor, I want to be in media, they'd be like, well, haizi kuchukia because you're like their child, but they'll still be like, okay, this is not right, you should maybe pursue being a doctor or something. So they'll try and guilt trip you. But for me, it's somewhat agree. It depends on what my career choice is. Obviously, they'll want the best for me, and maybe they might think this is the best for me. And even we discussed it earlier that the parents are not all wise. Like they might think we don't know what we want, but in the sense that they also want to guide us too much, and they don't give us space to actually explain why we are going for this.
Yeah.
You get? Yeah, that's my own perspective.